Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Jack Talks Bikes, and it's another news update because Tiumph have recently put out a press release that claims that they're going to be unleashing 29 new bikes. So in this episode we're going to look at what's really going on, because 29 new bikes is a hell of a lot of bikes, especially over the 6-month period they're claiming to put them out at, because that works out at what, 4.8 bikes every single month. So let's dig into what Tiumph's actually doing here, what it means for riders here in the UK, and why this might matter, because it's quite frankly a very large, bold claim. So the big announcement then from Tiumph is that they are putting out 29 new bikes in the next 6 months. It's been a really good year for Tiumph. They've had a really kind of cracking financial year last year as well. According to the stats that I've got here, they have delivered 141,683 motorcycles worldwide in the last financial year. And that is up, according to their statistics, by 136% since 2019. So just to give you some context on what that means, because that's some crazy big numbers. Here in the UK, we've got 1.4 million motorcycles currently registered on UK roads. So if you took every bike that Tiumph delivered last year globally, brought them all to the UK, that would indicate there's 1 in 10 motorcycles on UK roads will be a Tiumph, which is insane figures, really. So that's really good for them. They're having an absolute blast. And this press release now kind of builds on that. So they're saying that they want to release 29 new and updated, there's the key word there, new and updated models to be hitting the showrooms across now until next spring. The first wave is going to be unveiled in, when is it? October 21st. And they're putting that under the slogan, "The originals never settle," with a second batch due to drop just a week later on the 28th of October, called Made to Upstage. So we can see these new bikes or new announcements or new colour schemes, whatever they might be doing, all being released across the end to beginning of October. And I guess that lines up with EICMA at the start of November, where we should hopefully see a lot of new bikes, a lot of new stuff coming out. So trying to get ahead of the curve, I reckon, by releasing these bikes across October and hopefully having them on display at EICMA for people to see in the flesh. So, okay, what does 29 new bikes actually mean when they say that? So when we dig a little bit deeper into the press release, we see that there's some expectations getting tempered straight off the bat, because when Tiumph says 29 new bikes, what they actually mean is a few new models, a couple of new models going in there, but a lot of models getting a slight refresh, a slight update, some new colourways, so a whole lot of shiny new paint jobs and stuff. And out of the 29 new bikes that they're talking about, 7 of them have already been released, and they include the youth range of TXP electric motorcycles, which they built in partnership with their other brand, Osset. So they've got the Osset branding, so it's like Tiumph in partnership with Osset. They bought Osset a little while ago, and they're putting a few kind of new youth-orientated bikes and stuff out, these little electric kind of off-road, enduro-style dirt bike things. Plus, they're also including the TF 450X enduro bike in that list of 29. So 7 bikes have already been announced out of that 29, along with a couple of other cross-country models and stuff. So if you're picturing 29 new models all lined up in the showroom, then that's not really going to be the case. We're going to see a lot of new bikes, a lot of current bikes, with new paint jobs, new options included in them, and probably just a couple of additional bikes coming out of the factory and hitting the showroom floors, rather than like Tiumph scrapping their entire lineup and putting out a bunch of new motorcycles. It's still really impressive, and the fact that they're pushing out so many bikes at once suggests that Tiumph feels confident in their brand during a time of a tricky market. As we know, the motorcycle industry is struggling, and it will struggle more as it goes into Q4 for the end of the year, as we enter the winter months. So yeah, it's good to see that Tiumph are taking the opportunity to refresh their brand and try and put themselves in good stead ready for spring. So that's good for them. Looking forward to seeing what we actually get. When you dig into the press release as well, there's also mention of a new online reservation system, and I like the idea of this as well. So I used to work in sales, car sales, but the dealership groups I worked for did have a couple of Motorrad sites, BMW Motorrad sites, and one of the things that customers always used to face was, it's the same across cars and bikes, was delays in delivery. You'd order your bike, it'd take ages to get here, back orders would happen, parts would be difficult to get hold of. So you get your delivery date and then it get pushed back 2, 3, 4 months. It was an absolute nightmare. And I think Tiumph are trying to get ahead of the curve with this one, because they're talking about their new online reservation system. So it says here, interesting point is that they've got this Reserve My Triumph system where customers will soon be able to configure and reserve their new motorbikes online. You'll be able to pick things like colour, trim level, accessories, and even secure an early delivery slot. So like I say, this is a smart move from them because it'll cut down on dealership delays and the classic, your bike's been on back order for 6 months. It should hopefully get riders out there who know what they want just to be able to jump the queue, basically, go online, get the bike ordered and avoid the whole dealership haggling process and having to deal with salespeople. In theory as well, this should hopefully mean less wait times and more certainty around when your bike's actually going to arrive. And it's better for the dealerships because they'll know exactly what bikes are arriving. They're not sort of ordering stock items with their budget, speccing them how they think customers are going to want them, and then having these bikes languishing in the dealership because it's not the right colour, doesn't have the right trim on it, doesn't have the right spec, and having to lose money hand over fist when they discount the bike down or have to pre-reg it or whatever. So yeah, it's better for the industry, better for the sales side of things from Triumph, and hopefully better for the customers because it means you actually know what you're getting. So interesting to see how that one works out. Let me know in the comments if that's something you're going to utilise. Do you think you're going to go online and spec your own bike? Do you think you'd enjoy that more than going and actually seeing the bike in the flesh in the dealership? Okay, so anyway, enough about the online registration system. I've done some digging around, looked on a few forums. There's quite a few bits of speculations and rumours. So this is the juicy bit. This is where people are out there talking about what they think they know, trying to get ahead of what Triumph are actually putting out. I think we can probably expect to see a couple of new sub 500cc bikes to join the Speed 400 and Scrambler 400 line of bikes, aiming the A2 riders and new riders and commuters, people that want something affordable, something that's easy and nimble to chuck around town. It doesn't have to be a fast bike. They just want something that's cheap, affordable to insure, nice spec, from a premium brand that they can use for commuting across town. And I think these 400cc bikes, they work well internationally and they work well around places like London, city centres, Manchester, Liverpool. Those sorts of bikes do fit in well for commuting around those towns. I think we'll also see, because we've seen spy shots of a new Trident going out there, and we have received here in the UK the new Tiger Sport 800. So I think it would be safe to assume that we might see a Trident 800 joining the lineup here in the UK. A bike that could sit just above the 660 line of bikes, a bit more power, a bit more performance in that kind of retro naked style. I'll be interested to see how that one's received and how that does here in the UK, because we do already have the Speed Triple 765. So there's two bikes in that. You've got the 765 RS and the 765R. So to put in an 800cc Trident, slightly different style bike, naked bike, but it's still a triple. Less sporty edge to the design of it, but is it going to cannibalise the 765R's customer base? We'll see. We'll have to watch and see how that one goes. I think it's offering something slightly different in the market. Price point, I reckon it'll sit around where that 765R sits. The Bonneville range of bikes, that's definitely going to have to be due for an upgrade as well at some point. They've been going for a little while now. One of Triumph's most well-recognised brands of line of bikes, should we say. I think that'd be due a nice tech refresh to kind of get it in line with the likes of Royal Enfield and some of these new naked retros and stuff that are coming out from other brands. And then, of course, there's the whole electric line of bikes. As I mentioned, they've done that TXP youth range of bikes that's starting to come out. Now, with that tech they're using from Osset, can we expect them to start putting out some of this electric stuff into more premium bikes, higher-end bikes for the road, following suit of Kawasaki with their Z7 hybrid? We'll have to wait and see. So the sheer scale of the launch hints that Triumph is not just updating what it has, but it's trying to future-proof its lineup, I guess, get themselves in a good position, ready for next spring to try and start getting some new bikes out on the road and get some new customers through their showroom doors. So my final thoughts on this, 29 new bikes does sound insane as a headline on paper, but in reality, it's going to be a mix of updates and refreshers. We're going to see some bikes we already know and love getting a refresh and a bit of a facelift, and a few exciting newcomers getting sprinkled in there. So I'm going to put it to you guys. What do you reckon to Triumph's plans here? Do you think they're spreading themselves too thin, or are you excited to see what they bring to the market in the next few months? Would you actually use that online configurator, as I mentioned? Are you going to use that more, or do you feel like you're going to be the kind of customer that still goes into a showroom and wants to experience that that time with a salesman, sitting on the bike, seeing the bike in the flesh, going through the options and getting a feel for what you actually want to build from the bike? And also, let me put this to you as well, if you could choose one model from the Triumph lineup that you wanted to see a refresh on, what would that bike be? And what would that refresh be? What would you hope to see that bike come with? Okay, yeah, like I say, that's it from me. Leave your thoughts below. Join the conversation. I'll get back to you. And if you like this kind of video, don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit that subscribe button below us there. Yeah, and I'll do more of these videos as and when the news comes out. And I'll still be doing my regular every Sunday update. My every Sunday upload, sorry. So yeah, hopefully I'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers.